for the Shop Report with
Barbershop Jay.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report special presentation of the Turnbuckle. We are back. I'm, of course, your host, none other than Creative Control Jay, and I got my guy with me on my right, your left, none other.
Gully changing the name tag as we speak, sir. Welcome back, Turnbuckle. Welcome back, Turnbuckle fans. We here. We about to get right into it, man. I think it's still some heat in the streets for Mr. Uso, among other things, man. We won't discuss it all, man. How you feeling about everything, though?
Well, actually, I'm out of sorts. Is the best way for myself to kind of put it, and I wanted to hopefully get some clarity and some stability on all things within the squared circle.
Okay.
And so without further ado, let's just add to the chaos right away and address the elephant in the room. And for $20, you can.
Bro. Yeah. What is going on, man?
You can subscribe to Matt Riddle's, otherwise known as Matt Riddle's page.
First of all, no. I'm not subscribing to anything. No. You can go ahead and get rid of that image. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm not doing that. But what I am going to ask though is, like, how did we get here with him? Like, is it really him? Like is his attitude or what he's done so foul, has run afoul so much that he won't have a way back in? Because as far as I understand, he's a talented wrestler and he's a talented MMA artist. Why is he doing OnlyFans? That don't make sense to me. Like,
yeah,
help me make it make sense to me.
Look, it's simple. If I wanted to put it in a polite way, I would suggest,
please do,
that he didn't do anything. It was just simply a change of direction career-wise.
Okay.
That is as politically correct as I could put it.
But okay, you said like a change, like he saw the money.
Well, potentially. Again, that was his Father's Day post that he potentially suggested by subscribing, you could see him in maybe more. And as far as the more, I will allow those to inquiring minds to find out, and do not feel free to reply back or just tag Barbershop Jay.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. No, don't do that. Don't do that. No, I do not want that smoke. Nope. You Creative Control Jay. You tag him. You find him. You tag him. Okay.
So in short, look, golly, think about it. Was it just simply the character, right? His persona and character development simply could not expand or evolve beyond where it was? Was it more than that from your perspective?
It seemed like it was more than that. I think his backstage issues with Goldberg, his backstage issues with Brock were enough that he couldn't recover from it. But I'm saying this is the same organization that worked Lita, Edge, and Matt Hardy into one of the best feuds of that era. I don't know how much more animosity can you get than a man cheating on or a woman cheating on a superstar with another superstar and then working that into an angle. I'm certain that any of this is passable, should be passable. So the fact that it isn't, I don't kind of get it, because I think it's a missed opportunity, because I think genuinely, because if he is who he say he is, Matt Riddle is, he's a good MMA, he's a good art, he's good in the ring, he's a good combat artist. I would have, first of all, that's the only aspect of him physically I would want to see him combat, him in combat. All right. First of all, I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm not subscribing. I'm not paying $20 a month. Whatever is going on that channel, feel free not to include me in any memos. Don't share me any links. I am good. Okay. So
each their own.
Yeah, I know. And
hey, get it how you live, right? Isn't that the saying?
Say what?
Well, no, I digress. Go.
Yeah, please
continue,
don't.
Please.
Yeah. So I think it's a missed opportunity. I think it's kind of like an unfortunate missed opportunity. I won't say tragic, but I think it's unfortunate because we've seen here lately, because there's so much more that the public and the fans get their hands on of the real tension and animosity between professionals. We've seen it work with real heat and real tension and guys working a program. Certainly somebody who feels like they can go toe to toe with some of the most physically powerful superstars of any era, like Goldberg, like Brock, I would have loved to have seen that transpire in the ring. If we can get CM Punk to get over his differences with creative, namely Triple H, get over his differences with Seth Rollins, and get over his differences with Drew McIntyre, for those guys to have real heat and then still make it work, certainly two of the most dominant superstars of the last two generations, we would have been fortunate. We would have been, privileged to be able to see that work. And I'm just upset that we didn't see that.
Yeah, and I'm not too much of a counter argument for me on that. It definitely, look, if he's successful here in that space, and he wouldn't be the first, right? Then by all means, more power to him, and want to wish him the best on that. But as far as what his wrestling career could have consisted of or delivered more on, to your point about who the feuds were, and it just seemed like, yes, that was somewhat insurmountable.
Yes.
And it just, unfortunately, that's the nature of the business. In addition to that, we had news break that Shaq is going to be your new DLC in the video game.
About time. I am here for it. About time. I think it's long overdue. I think it's, come on, man. He's 7 feet, 350 pounds. It should have happened a long time ago. We about a decade too late. Because we think about the stories of professional wrestling, like I've hinted on, I think on the last show and in shows past. The unique thing about professional wrestling is that it's truly timeless. These are characters that are developed and play out over our eyes. So there's nothing about this that would say that hinders me from thinking, like, what if we could get Shaq, prime Shaq? Think of it this way. 2000 MVP Lakers Shaq versus Big Show. 2000 MVP Lakers Shaq versus Andre the Giant. Oh yes, I'm stepping on hallowed sacred ground. I get it. But what I'm talking
Whoa,
about is
whoa. Do you remember when that almost occurred though?
what's
In
that?
2009?
Yeah, it should have. Right. But
Okay, so look, I'm going to reach out to again. Our program is all of us, right?
yes.
Not just him and I. So by all means, across all of the various channels that we are streaming on, feel free to give your say on this stuff as well, and we'll definitely put it on the screen. But there was a year that Shaq was vocal, like I'm going to be on the WrestleMania card, and then it just never happened.
Right.
And do you first? Okay, so you do remember that occurring?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you? Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I remember Shaq at Bash at the Beach. This is why I love this because initially I'm like, well, wait a minute. Then you threw out the essentially the Diesel year 2000 Shaq.
That's what I'm saying. Imagine, right? We have that now. 2K25. If you could create Shaq, I'll do the numbers. Create Shaq, give him the attributes that he would have if he was 2000 Shaq, 300 pounds, 8% body fat, as physically strong, as quick as he was, and you could put that type of athleticism inside a WWE ring. Shaq versus, we can create it, right? So you put that physical specimen of Shaq versus Braun Strowman, that Shaq versus Big Show, that Shaq versus Big John Studd, that Shaq versus King Kong Bundy, that Shaq versus Andre the Giant. Come on, man, it's the stuff of legend. I am so ready for that. Like, that's just long overdue.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's more so, look, did we want to see... We talked about, obviously, the show, LFG during the season. And one of the episodes featured things that were deemed abnormal, some anomalies that would occur, such as the turnbuckle breaking, or the ring kind of exploding, if you will.
Yeah.
What instantly comes to my mind, this is the beauty of gaming that we almost got a chance at seeing, was Shaq Big Show around 2009. That should have been, I guess that would have been, and potentially even before that, I would have said, even later at Mania 33, I believe it was. But now we can get that.
Yeah.
Now that once again becomes reality. He again, this is like when you look at the many roles that Shaq has had in his life, it's very fulfilling, right?
Right.
But I'm just going to highlight as his wrestling persona, which was, of course, what began as a belt presenter.
Right.
Then he had the backstage angle. I remember that was 2005-ish. Maybe a little bit later, 06. We'll go 05, 06.
Okay.
Then he was an enforcer at a point in time, and that's kind of what I was referring to with him, going toe-to-toe with Big Show.
Right.
And then, of course, he had kind of the vignettes in the 2013 or so.
I'm sorry, guys. I got something in my hair. I'm sorry.
And
sorry.
that,
I gotta look my best.
Really?
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, bro. I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You got to keep going.
Oh, live show. There you go. And then, of course, he was in the Battle Royal.
Right.
Now, but again, this is, once you get north of 2010.
Correct.
Let's be honest here. Like, you could have put ourselves in there around 2015, 2016, and it wouldn't have been our best versions.
Right. But
unfortunately,
now, I mean, for you, but now, since I feel like
oh, look, I would have been great. I would have been okay. And that's what I mean. It wasn't like Shaq didn't let us down, but year 2000 Shaq, to your
that's
point,
what I'm saying.
So that's what I'm asking. Like, you saw, I'm going to put the image back up.
Yeah.
Which one does this suggest to you?
This suggests now
Do you have a problem with that?
What'd you say?
Do you believe that that should be the case?
No, what I'm saying is, it's the idea that he's crossed the chasm, right? It should have happened soon. I'm glad it happened now because now it gives you invitation. So for me, what I would do is, if I spent some time with it, I would take this Shaq. I would figure out what you could do to revise his attributes, bring him to 2000 Shaq, and then have Shaq. Oh, come on, think about it. Imagine prime physical Shaq at WrestleMania versus the Streak. Oh, come on, man. Because you think about the Streak, right? Some of those matches that are included in the Streak were duds. Like, some of those opponents were duds. Giant Gonzalez, dud, right?
Someone that, of course, has been a name that superstar.
Yes, rest his soul.
I'm glad that you remembered that. Now that that came, look at that, how quick that came top of mind.
Right, I see what you
pointing that out there.
I see what you did there. Right. So imagine if you could have had Shaq at a point be one of those matches. Imagine you could have Shaq, that big imposing figure, versus the Undertaker. I know Undertaker gets the pin. Shaq does the job. Imagine Shaq puts Undertaker over, right? Right.
Well, wait a minute. All right, so I want to point this out to you, right?
Or by winning, Shaq would, or Undertaker would actually put Shaq over, even though Undertaker would win, by being able to have a convincing, compelling match. And maybe Shaq some of that diesel come out in him. You know what I'm saying? He can get a choke slam. He can get a top rope. Maybe he can get a choke slam off the rope. I can play it out. I think a Twitch stream or the Shop Report Turnbuckle is coming with these play it out scenes. But my bad.
That is a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will moderate that. And now I do want to ask this, however, because this is a part of the Dunk and Destruction pack for that set to release in about 10 days from now.
Oh, Dunk and Destruction pack. Okay.
Yep. So the Great Khali is in that pack. Of course, Shaq, as we mentioned. Additionally, it'll also have Indiana Pacers Tyrese Halliburton.
No, really. Okay,
I'll give you. Hey, look,
but you know who else they need to put? You know who else they need to put? You know who else they need to put?
Wait. I hope. Hang on. I'm going to add this caveat to what you're saying here, because it says one other NBA star. So I will turn it over to you, and you.
It ain't gonna be the one that I think it should be.
Who?
It ain't gonna be the one that I think it should be. Come on, Voldemort. The name that we can't never say, but we always end up saying anyway. LeBron James should be on NBA 2K or WWE 2K.
Why?
He's 6'8", 260. He's 6'8" and 260. Like, listen, LeBron James should have been on 2K. If any type of cross promotion should have ever happened, yeah, I'm saying
under 20 minutes. And there was the LeBron reference on the Turnbuckle.
Yes, listen, because this is one of the things about LeBron that I've always said to his credit. I've always said, "Oh, you stop it, Mrs. Alva, you stop it." Okay, listen, I've always said it to his credit. I said LeBron James for his entire career has been. I said this. I said he's like Hulk Hogan, like Brock Lesnar. No matter who he's in the ring with, he's never looked small. Meaning, no matter who's on the court with LeBron, LeBron has never looked small. He's his physical specimen. He's tall enough and he's wide enough. He's never looked small. Pause. He's never looked small compared to other competitors like Hulk Hogan. Even though they say that Andre the Giant dwarfed Hulk Hogan when you look at the WrestleMania 3, the size him up, Hulk Hogan, he didn't really dwarf him. He didn't make him look little. Like, Hogan was still a massive sized guy. Okay,
brother, you got me.
which makes it even more shocking the fact that Savage, being a strong guy, being a smaller guy, did that to his eye. I don't care what Hogan say, or the jet ski. All right. So that being said, Brock Lesnar is another guy. He's never looked. Brock Lesnar, he's not as tall as I think he is, as I thought he would be, but he's never looked small compared to anybody of any size in the ring. LeBron James has never looked smaller than anybody taller or anybody, bigger than. He's never done that.
When he tries to play the 4 or 5, you know what? She's actually taking the words out of my mouth here. Miss Salva weighing in. Please do not compare LeBron to Brock Lesnar.
I am doing this.
Dude, I cannot believe you're doing this.
Bring the tail of the tape. Tell me this. All right, do the match. Bring the tail of the tape. Tell me LeBron, especially Miami Heat LeBron. He was sick. He's listed at 6'9" and 270. What's Brock Lesnar's height and weight? When he won UFC heavyweight gold. What was his size and height and weight? Go ahead, look it up. Creative Control, Jay. Tell me what I'm talking. Tell me that I'm not talking about what I'm talking about. Tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, Double J.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
I came across something.
Yep.
I'm just trying to make sure this is not real. There's an individual named Roy on TikTok.
Yep.
And he's using LeBron.
In WWE 2K?
Yeah.
Yes. 6'8", 270. That's Batista. That's okay. I think that's Batista. That's Drew McIntyre. I don't know if it's Braun Strowman. I think Braun Strowman is a fair amount heavier than that. Yeah, LeBron in 2K. LeBron in WWE.
But it's to my understanding, it's not confirmed.
Bro, let it be.
It's a fan edit.
That's fine. Let the fan edit.
Okay, you're doing the Beatles now. To the shop. That's real life.
Can fan edits go to the shop and you can is there a marketplace on 2K where fan edits can go and be sold?
Yeah, do you remember those downloads, the downloadable rosters for NCAA 25, and then you could import said roster to Madden. So that way, when you did that future draft, now it's gotten easier, right? I used to have to buy. Look, kids, if you want to know how spoiled you are, we used to have to work for things, and I had to pay via eBay to get access to somebody's file that had the names.
Yep.
Then, of course, download said file. I then would rip the sound effects of Purdue Stadium from MP3, right, and put them on a SD drive, then upload them into the Xbox and save them within the custom options inside of NCAA.
Yes.
And then, of course, they would actually play out better than 2020 or than this past season's game.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So their down stops, essentially the two horns and then the boiler up. People actually thought I was modding at that point in time, when actually it was just hard work.
You just about got it. You just about got it there. Yeah. So
but again, back to LeBron. We're talking about LeBron.
Yes.
Dotson. We got Dotson here. We're talking about LeBron in WWE.
Yeah, LBJ in 2K. LBJ in WWE 2K.
Yes.
Why not? Him and Shaq. Listen, you put bro. Check this out. LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal. Vernon Maxwell.
I see where you're going.
And who else? And Udonis Haslem. You put them for an NBA, you put them for WWE 2K. You put those for. That is a stable. Listen, that's a stable that's running all the championships. You got Vernon Maxwell and Shaq you got Vernon and Haslam. They the tag team champs. Vernon probably can win the Intercontinental title, right? You got World Heavyweight champ, Shaq. You got WWE Undisputed champ LeBron. Bro, I'm telling you, them four: Haslam, Maxwell, Shaq, and LeBron. Yes. Matter of fact, that's
give
a
me a
question.
throwback of give me when the theme of Bash at the Beach is used.
Yeah.
Give me Udonis Haslem as someone just on the outside, just as a spectator. Don't even maybe unofficial credit or just a quick mention from Corey Graves or somebody that's announcing. And nothing more. I'm all here for it because obviously he's 305. He's personified,
right?
And so yes, but to your point, yeah, it's getting out of control. It says one other superstar. We will find out, of course, and keep you posted as Gully has already formed factions.
I will pick that. That's a classic. All but LeBron is retired. So listen, if you figure a current four, the game is so docile now. Who really, you know what I'm saying? The NBA game is so docile now. This would work in the 2000s when Kevin Garnett and David West still roamed it. Bro, Garnett, David West, Kenyon Martin, and Chris Childs. Them four. That's another stable. Garnett, David West, Kenyon Martin, Chris Childs. That's a foursome.
And with that, we will take our first break. When we return, Liv Morgan appears to have gotten injured tonight, and much, much more.
SK Cunningham, and you watching the Shop Report. I'm Homie Diallo, and you watching the Shop Report.
My name's Chris Murray, and you're watching the Shop Report.
You're Jay Knight, you're watching the Shop Report.
Max McKee, you're dropping in on the Shop Report.
Barbershop Jay, Quentin Hines, Super Bowl champion. I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm on.
Hi, I'm Mars Edwards from Murphy Stadium, and you're watching the Shock Report.
Hey, I'm Billy Butler, and thank you for watching the Shock Report. Hey guys, I'm Les Norman, former Kansas City Royal, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Commander Brown, Detroit Rivers Mountain Training, and I'm watching the Shop Report.
Hey, this is Doug Flynn of the New York Mets. Well, a few other teams, of course, too. And you're watching the Shop Report.
I'm Matt Ramos, and you're watching the Shop Report.
How you doing? I'm Rajay Davis, and you're watching the Shop Report.
How you doing? This is Nelson Figueroa, former Major League pitcher with a lot of teams. You're about to listen to the Shop Report.
Hey, this is Howard Johnson. You're watching the Shop Report.
Hi, I'm Heath Bell from the New York Mets, and you're listening to the Shop Report podcast. Yeah!
Hey, I'm Josh Tolley, former catcher of the New York Mets, and you're watching the Shop Report.
This is Edgardo Alfonso for the Mets, and you're listening to Shop Report.
Hey, this is Doc Gooden, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Hello, this is Mike Hampton, and you're watching Shop Report.
Hey, this is Herman R.V., former NFL offensive lineman with the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens, and you're listening to the Shop Report.
All right, just like that, we are back, and Gunther came out this evening, and would you believe it? we had the return of
Bill Goldberg.
There you go.
Bill Goldberg versus Gunther. Well, what you want to do? You want to work on it or you want to shoot on it?
You tell me, right? Do you feel like a Saturday night main event is appropriate, right? We've talked about which PLEs. It does sound like it's slated for about a month from now in Atlanta, I believe, which is eerily reminiscent of where he used to be.
You right. So, all right, yeah, because I think the the larger or the background discussion to this is why did Uso have to drop the belt? And now it makes sense why Uso had to drop the belt. And Hit Dog is hollering. But what I mean by that is Uso had to drop the belt because Gunther has to face Goldberg. There's no one else for if Goldberg's going to return, which they knew he was going to return. He needs immovable objects to be unstoppable against, to remain unstoppable against. Goldberg versus Jey Uso don't do it for anybody. Like who does that help? It don't help. It doesn't help Jey Uso at all because Goldberg's retired. But for Goldberg to still go up against an immovable object like Gunther, it helps to sell the story of Goldberg equally or almost as equally as much as it helps to sell the story of Gunther. Because even though Goldberg is 58 and well into the retirement era, that's still that name and still that persona. He's still that type of wrestler where Goldberg was he's a dominant power. He's a power wrestler, dominant power wrestler. That's what he is. He's not Mystique. He isn't a storyteller in that sense. Right. He isn't. There we go. That's why. That doesn't work if Jey Uso's on the other side of that face being yelled at him. It don't work at all. You gotta give me somebody an unstoppable force versus an immovable object, that sort of thing. You got to give me an immovable object. It's got to be Gunther on the other side of that. Or if you didn't release Strowman, it's got to be Braun Strowman on the other side of that. It can't be a guy like Jey Uso, which is why to make the match have more importance, a title is on the line. To make the match have more importance, you give it to Gunther. I don't know why Gunther will win in Saturday night's main event over Goldberg, because the last time Goldberg somehow got his Cedar Point Fast Pass to a title, he won it, and everyone hated it. But why else would it go differently? Even Chris Jericho said it himself. He may not be the fondest of Bill Goldberg, or they may have gotten over that whole incident that they had when they were both feuding behind the scenes. But the point is, he knew that there's numbers there. And so that's why Goldberg would beat The Fiend, I believe, or beat Bray Wyatt for a title when we wanted to see Wyatt with the title. Similar circumstance. I don't know why Goldberg will come back and do the job for Gunther when he's already well into the retirement picture. So knowing that, well, in my opinion, the belief that Gunther's going to lose, or the believing that Goldberg's going to win a world title, yeah, it would only be Gunther that would help drop it for him to get it back at a more fitting occasion. But for this reason, because this was already in the oven, if you will, this was already on deck. Jey Uso's title reign had to be 51 days. Also buys Jey Uso some time to do some much needed promo development that I hinted at last week.
Not so fast. As Jey Uso, of course, was in action tonight, and just mere moments ago, this match faced some interruption from none other than LA Knight.
Yes, he did.
So, Gully, would you like? Whoa, and we're not done yet. Apparently, are you watching this?
Yeah. Tell us.
And now with a hobbled Jey Uso, Seth freaking Rollins music drops, and he comes out with, of course, Paul Heyman, and he is taking his sweet time, letting the cufflinks go.
Yeah.
Now he's going to enter the ring here. What do you got?
I don't understand this yet. Oh, do they want? Is this a? I don't understand. I don't understand this. Okay, he's coming in the ring.
Oh no, we're not done yet. Okay, and here comes Cody.
What? All right, he's sizing them up. Wait a minute.
What's happening?
You know what's happening? Creative is sticking it to the smart marks like us. Like, you don't know what's going on. You won't know what's going on. If you think you know, you have no idea. This is the real world. This is the world. This is the world we play in.
Hey, relax, Tech.
That's what we're doing. That's what it is, because none of this makes sense. You tell me who drew these parallels together. Tell me the pundit, the talking head that drew this all together for it to make sense. Show them to me.
No pictures of Triple H. I do still have Matt Riddle's. I think I can go find that if you'd like.
Yeah. No one. Tell me how this makes sense. Tell me.
We got Mr. Money in the Bank, of course. Right?
I don't understand it.
Where Paul Heyman's holding that Money in the Bank briefcase.
Oh, that's right. Because he has the Money in the Bank. Yep.
And if you recall, in this particular match, you had some of his goons with him.
Yeah.
And apparently, the Yeet Man has an ally.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Is this because of some of the reasons that you've mentioned? Okay, now Cody's turning his attention. Now, is this where we get the handshake? Are we going to hug it out? What are we doing?
Right.
King of the Ring tournament semifinals is Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso next Monday. Okay, great. Perfect. So much for that ally.
Right. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Okay, we got the crowd popped, of course. See a little bit of yeeting going on. It wasn't quite the Apollo Creed Cy Stallone handshake or the superpowers, mega powers bringing it together. So a little disappointing from that side of things. But I'm not quite sure what to make out of this. And we're going to turn it over, of course, to you here in the audience. By all means, let us know what you think. And again, that is going to be the semifinal match. As I mentioned, for myself, I'm going to still say I'm going to shoot with Cody advancing out of the two. I've kind of laid out that framework on last week's show as to my whys behind that. I will say this, however, I could easily see that being completely railroaded for the 6 or 7 reasons that were just ringside. But as far as my take on Gunther and Goldberg, I think, to Gully's point, Gunther is a better fit. That seed was planted a while back. I think Main Event's a perfect venue in the right location for that to occur. Right? If he had just kind of skipped the line and not earned it, which sounds crazy, because let's face it, he's Oldberg to me.
Right.
But we'll get, again, if we're building Gunther, if we're building the legend that is Gunther, and we're going to at some point get his, I think maybe this is where we get the return of Ludwig Kaiser.
Okay.
Helps him get over.
Yeah. Because I can't imagine a Gunther. Yeah, I don't see how Goldberg comes back.
He can't beat him clean.
Who can't?
Gunther. I would say in order for this to have
correct, right? If Gunther beats him clean, it's a waste of time. Because you can put Gunther in a match against another class. You know, if you want to see, if you want to see Goldberg again, if the idea is to see Goldberg again, put him against another, put him against someone else not relevant to a title picture. Right? Why not keep Braun Strowman around? Get what I'm saying? And put Goldberg against Braun Strowman. If the idea is to see Goldberg get back at it. But if you are right, why I can't see him winning clean over Goldberg. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, and again, speaking of potentially a waste of time here, I don't quite see it that way, but I will mention that AJ Styles did pick up a clean win versus JD tonight, and so JD's noggin has came under some criticism of late, and I do want to point out that it was mentioned that he cannot help. This was from Corey Graves, that he looks like, and I'm not going to, here we go. I'm going to get this correct. Where is it?
What's wrong with JD's noggin?
Yeah, like something out of a Minecraft.
Is it because he just got shorter arms?
Kind of T-Rexing it?
Like Chris Benoit?
Let's see.
I know that's the name. That we talk about. Any name is Voldemort.
Man, talk about Voldemort. Yeah, you had to do that, huh?
If any name is whoops. But I'm saying, like, it. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
What do you say yeah for?
I'm looking at the two.
Yeah. Yeah. It's because his arms.
All right, we're going there.
It's all right. We're going. Yeah. That's all it is. Is what it's like we look at him and it's jarring because for whatever reason, but like the dude he's physically fit. Yeah, someone did it. Did you do that just now?
We're here.
So someone thought of it already too. Yeah. Yeah, it's that. Yeah, it's because of that. And the difference is he's a narrower frame than Chris Benoit. So So it's like Chris Benoit had a small head with a large neck. He had a small head on a larger frame with shorter arms. McDonough's got a larger head on like a shorter stocky. I mean, look, bro, the guy's physically and like who really? All right, put it this way. You know what? There's a special people, okay, and I don't want to be on that train. So you're gonna take that image off. You're gonna take this one off right now. I mean, I said it, but I ain't have to explore it. Like, tell me this: who gonna say that to JD McDonough's face? Let's be real. Let's be all the way real about it. The guy's in shit.
Barbershop Jay.
All right, you know what? I ain't gonna. And that's all right. We can poke fun all we want to, but you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do? I mean, he is him. He did the right thing with his genetic foundation. He did the right thing by himself by becoming a freaking specimen of an athlete. So people would be hard pressed to tell him to his face what they think he looked like behind the screen. You follow what I'm saying? So he did right about it. Whoa. Did this just happen?
Well, I mean, he beat JD. So
there we go. There we go.
Is this wasted away again in Margaritaville, or?
No, I think there was an issue with JD having it. How right? It's two things that happens with a title. The title builds the superstar, the superstar builds the title. The title couldn't help elevate JD, so they need an elevator named AJ Styles to elevate the title. Hopefully, this generates more interesting matches for AJ Styles as his sunset approaches as well. It would have been great for AJ Styles and John Cena.
Shoot on that a little bit there with the John Cena concept.
I would love for somebody to beat John Cena during this run, but I don't think it's going to happen. And if anybody was to beat John Cena for this run, let's say there is a bit of a chase. Let's say there is a bit of a hiccup. If anybody is there to do the hiccup, it would be AJ Styles. Someone that could interrupt, make John Cena call him question the way he's been approaching things and whatever, what have you. Win the title, get himself one last taste of that, of the pantheon or the top of the WWE scale, the top of the ladder, even if it's only for a few moments.
Eric checking in on YouTube saying, I feel so bad for Liv. I just hope she returns just in time for her homecoming. And look, Gully, we're going to get to this, but this is 2 matches, 2 weeks in a row that an injury has occurred via the same culprit. And like, part of me wonders, is this truly a work that, okay, that's going to be her thing? I thought it looked very real when it did occur. So, I've been fooled before, but Michael Cole did mention during the show that she had a dislocated shoulder. They said out 12 to 16 weeks. To me, that sounds longer than your traditional vacation, especially considering earlier in Raw, they were talking about her getting a rematch, that type of thing.
12 to 16 weeks. That's you talking about September, October.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Is that Roman Reigns at Disney World, or is it?
Well, shoot, Cody's already back. He had a hiatus, a brief one, I think, after WrestleMania. So 12 to 16 weeks doesn't seem like terribly long to me. But I could. Whoa.
This is not AI. This is real life.
AJ versus Dominic at Night of Champions, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Saturday, June 28th. 12 days away.
D Gully, who you got and why?
AJ Styles goes over.
Why?
Because he's AJ Styles. But wait a minute. It's in Radia. They wanted to see. Remember, isn't that where Goldberg won the title?
Anything can happen.
Well, no, not anything can happen. Certain things will happen. Say it right.
Okay.
Say it right. If the youth of Saudi Arabia love Daddy Dom, he don't lose in Saudi Arabia. The youth or the people who have affluence loved what they remember about Goldberg. He wins in Saudi Arabia.
So okay, but are you staying with your pick?
Well, I think I switched my pick as I started talking because I like to say AJ Styles. AJ Styles should win. AJ Styles should win.
What does it do? Hang on. We'll cross the bridge now, right?
Right.
For whatever reason.
Yep.
If Dom ends up victorious, I've talked about creatively.
Okay.
How there's some challenges, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think it's fantastic for Dom. I have been on, I feel like I was alone on Dom being a goat heel train conversation nearly, a year and a half ago, feels like.
Okay.
If he beats someone of that caliber.
Okay.
What does that do for his legacy?
For Dom's legacy? Well, the history books will write it. He beat someone of AJ Styles' caliber. It don't necessarily hurt AJ Styles because at that point you recognize, okay, he's done everything he needed to do. I don't know that Dom will reach the height that AJ has, or it'll be a case where the contribution to wrestling, to professional wrestling that AJ Styles has will go, let's say, unheralded or go, behind the scenes. The guys that know the business know how important AJ Styles is. The guys that grew up watching it will understand how important Dominic is, right? There are guys that are foundational to building what it is we see, and there are guys that are remarkable at playing in the fields that were built by someone else. That's where Dom is right now to me. Dom is going to be able to take proper advantage and exposure of what we see behind it, but the platforms that are built by guys like AJ Styles. So AJ Styles doing the job for Dom makes sense. It doesn't diminish AJ Styles' career because AJ Styles has done things. He's carried a brand like TNA.
I'm so glad you used the verbiage carry.
Yes.
Because when we just talked about Gunther and Goldberg,
yes,
I would make the case or suggest that Gunther is clearly over internally because they believe he can carry Goldberg.
Yes. Yes.
We saw more than once what he did in order to assist or carry someone like Jey Uso.
Yes.
Is this another example of that with AJ for Dom? Or should it be looked in that light? or is this one of Dom's critical moments to take that next step?
Yeah, it's one of Dom's critical moments to take the next step. But remember what I told you after, what was the pay-per-view? The most not Money in the Bank. Backlash. Remember what I said? How I was on the train. I was now on the train for that. You know, like I'm in this corner, like because I said one's ability to take bumps. If you can take bumps and you can sell bumps, because I look at all the greats, the greatest among them can take them. Hall of Famer as he is, with all due respect, Goldberg ain't the greatest at taking bumps. Never has been. He almost had to default to no selling because he couldn't take them.
Like Creative Control Hulk against the Four Horsemen? That kind of no selling?
Perhaps. Well, what I'm saying is, in contrast, I'm saying when I saw Dom in that pay-per-view, the bumps he took to sell getting punishment in an effective way, that to me is how I recognize for me that he is growing. Now he's got AJ. AJ's going to put him in positions to where he can sell, and he's going to make it look convincing.
What do you need to see? Let's cut the filler on the bull.
What I need to see.
What do you need to see? Because you've been the most critical of him out of anybody on this panel, Paul included. I, on the other hand, have been very much the celebrator of all of his successes to a fault.
Okay.
So what more with, like you pointed out, someone of AJ's caliber who should not have to carry him, but instead allow him to showcase his versatility yet again.
Now that I can see him take bumps, I'd like to see what he can do skill-wise. What really is his signature? What really are his what are his holds? What kind of offense can he deliver? What is his move set for real? Right? Now we need to see that. Now, against a guy like AJ can sell whatever happens because AJ's that great of a performer. AJ's that great of a wrestler. AJ's that great of a seller. AJ's that great of a tactician. And size-wise, he can take whatever Dom intends to deliver. He can set himself up for a suplex. He can put himself in position for a power bomb. He can be body slammed. He can be snap mared. He can be arm drag takeover. He can do all of those things. AJ's the phenomenal person to be able to sell. So now, does Dom have an offensive skill set that's convincing enough for him to go to the next level? Because now I'm confident in his ability first to take bumps, to defend, then you can strike. Dom's got persona, he's got charisma, he can sell getting hit. Now let's see what he can do delivering punishment. The thing that Logan Paul had out the gate.
Oh, what thing that Logan Paul had out the gate?
Being able to convincingly sell offense. Logan Paul had offense out the gate.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm not completely disagreeing with that, but I'm asking actually how much of that was from a similar light, right? Like he went against AJ Styles. Actually, this is going to be a perfect comparison.
Yeah.
No pressure, Dom. Do your thing. Crush him, but I'll make excuses anyway, probably.
Yeah. So Logan versus AJ Styles, we saw AJ Styles will bring out the best of his competition. Whatever they truly have, it's going to be revealed versus AJ Styles. That's the Hall of Famer AJ Styles is. He's going to find what they got, and he's going to make sure that they can show it. So, if they don't have a lot, he's still going to find it. If they got a lot, he's still going to find it. That's what he's going to do. He's going to be able to draw that. He's going to be able to extrapolate that into the match, bring the best that he has out.
Let me ask you this, though, with Dom's style, right, which he takes so much more from Eddie. That's the interesting, like the biggest, I would say the most frustrating part of this for me is that I can see where he's trying to carbon copy Eddie from we'll start signature, right?
And that's good for him.
You could say, okay, well, the secondary is, of course, from Ray.
Oh, yep.
But the taunt, Eddie.
Yeah.
Some of the combination of between the suplex chain, or some of the throws, again, kind of homage to somewhat of the Three Amigos stuff that Eddie did.
Yep.
And then obviously the psychology is there, but that part of it, just that common baseline set of moves is purely Eddie Guerrero. Nobody else, I would say.
Yes.
Just it's Eddie. And my problem is Eddie was so technical. Right? He was one of that handful of group that was able to do that.
Yeah.
Why does it feel like here we are after all of this, and it's still like, oh, and Dom has to do X, Y, and Z. Like he still has to he still hasn't proven it when he's modeling. Is it because we're holding it against him because of who he decided to carbon copy?
Well,
and how well they were able to do it.
You know what? That's the straw that was drawn for him. So what? That's the straw that was drawn. Him reaching that and delivering on it is only going to make him better. But that's the lot that's the lot that was cast for him. Either you're going to be your father, who is the luchador, lucha libre, extraordinaire, or you're going to be Eddie, who is technically gifted in a slightly different way. He don't have to do a whole bunch of backflips, but he could go. If Dom patterned him, either way he patterned himself after, that is the tough load to bear. Think of it this way. Tragically, it's the same thing. It's the thing that ultimately Joe Henning, he struggled kind of carrying that torch, if you will, capturing the essence that Kurt Hennig had, unfortunately, right? But that is the lot that he shared, right? Here's what I'm telling you. I see him growing into it, but I wasn't ready to say, because I like where he could go, that he good now. That's my point. Like I felt like other people have blinders to the idea of who he could be because they see him going in that direction. And I'm like, hey, for my fandom and my taste, if guys aren't there yet, they're not there yet. But I don't think that he's never going to be there. I just think he ain't there yet. So I'm not ready to give him what he ain't got yet. I just think he's growing. And like I said, that brings me all the way back to my point, and I'll draw it home. When I saw him take bumps in the way I did at Backlash, this is how I know the rest of it is on its way. And it's going to be here faster than I even think. And now we're going to see it because now we've got the best. In my opinion, we've got the best wrestler for him to face, for him to be able to figure things out offensively. Because AJ's going to sell whatever he's getting. AJ's going to be able to sell it. Maybe Seth. I'd say even more so than Cody Rhodes. AJ's the perfect guy to help get him to that next part, to help bring out the psychology of a match, to bring out his offensive repertoire. I think AJ's the phenomenal one. And so I can imagine AJ doing the job for him and letting Dom win in such a way where perhaps maybe they might call it on the fly. Like, look, if I see enough out of him, I'm gonna let him have it. If not, guys, I'm gonna get this pin and y'all know why. You get what I'm saying? I would love it to know if sometimes wrestlers have that type of control. Like they can say, hey, you'll know how I let things go about in the match, whether he's ready or not. AJ is a guy that I would trust being able to say, listen, it's gonna happen. Whatever way it happens, you'll know why. And that way he don't have to go to the back having pinned Dominic and have to explain himself, because you'd be able to see it in the match. Or if he goes in the back having let Dom pin him, you'd be able to see it for yourself. But I would love it, but I don't think it happens that way. But certainly if I had the business, maybe I would do it that way.
I do want to ask this, and I'm going to kind of change directions here. Going back to Goldberg, we've had a lot of cuts, right?
Yep.
Do you believe that Goldberg challenging for the world title, when there's a lot of current talent that are not being utilized creatively?
What's your question?
Is that the best? Like, was that the right time? Is this the right time? Why are we bringing Goldberg?
It's horrible time. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it, bro. But you know what? Sometimes when I go to work and they tell me I got to run 12 cables, and they didn't give me the survey, and they didn't tell me it's concrete walls and it's a floor that's inaccessible for 3 hours out of the day, but I gotta have the cables run by 6. I still gotta have the cables run by 6. So I don't like it. I don't like for 1 minute Goldberg being back. I feel like this ship is sailed. I don't get it, but they're putting it in our faces. This is what's on the menu. Eat or don't eat. But you're hungry. You haven't eaten 72 hours. Your fast has got to break. What are you going to do?
I'm going to ask you this, okay? If this goes smoothly with Dom and AJ, do you shoot on Dom and Finn?
Oh, man, yeah. Make that happen. Make that, because now when you do that, if Dom and AJ goes well, now you can bring more relevant storytelling to Dom's career narrative or Dom's narrative into a match. Now he can have a meaningful match versus AJ when he's equipped to be able to have a meaningful match versus AJ, versus having the story be well ahead of itself. The pacing isn't aligned. That's a great question. That's a great question, though, Jay. I hope that's the case. I hope that, like, we're in June now. By August, by SummerSlam, maybe even October. Oh, if you could have Dom and Finn at Survivor Series, that would be remarkable. That would be great to be able to see that.
Absolutely. And I'm going to pull up the image here. Okay, so this is the first. I want to just get your thoughts on if this will work or not with Liv. All right. And then this is ultimately the landing.
So wait a minute. What broke?
I'm going to mute the audio on this and give you the couple second clip here. So this is our reaction to it. So relax. The reaction. Everybody relax. Ooh.
Hold on. Is there
one more time?
Elbow?
Shoulder.
Show it again.
I don't
hybrid. Yeah.
Hang on a second. It's this part of it for me where I feel like I see what you're saying with the elbow, but then you see that area here.
Yeah, the shoulder. Hey man, is it the ring?
Ooh. Ah.
What?
I don't know if it might be a work. I kind of initially in real time.
No, she just came back, right?
Oh, who her opponent here?
No, I'm talking about Liv. She ain't been back too long.
No, she's never left.
She never left. I'm tripping.
Nope. Her opponent, on the other hand, did. And that was the thing. That's the second week in a row, coincidentally, that her opponent was injured.
Oh, okay.
So is Nikki Bella too green? Somehow.
Yeah.
She looked jacked, the other day.
Yeah.
And again, look, whatever they do with that, it teach their own. Well, I'm here for it. A shout out to Ed Bose, by the way. This is the watermelon tea. Limited time, but feel free at the shop for 365@gmail.com.
All right, absolutely.
So, in short, Gully L, we also had news of Cody Rhodes making his on-screen appearance in Leslie Nielsen's reboot of The Naked Gun.
Well, you mean Liam Neeson's? Because Leslie is in the ether. Leslie and Cody's dad are partying.
Right. Correct. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Wasn't Leslie Nielsen in the?
I'm saying Leslie Nielsen's movie, right? The Naked Gun, that is his series, but Leslie Nielsen is gone, bro. Liam Neeson is taking that part now.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I wanted to be sure of. That. Okay.
Yeah.
It was more so I wasn't necessarily saying that he was in it, just not now.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Do you think an airplane would work in 2025?
Yeah. See, when people ask those questions, I think generally the obvious answer is the concept of the movie. Could it work? The concept of any movie could work. Sharknado became a multi-million-dollar franchise. Okay, so any concept.
Did you see that a hammerhead shark was dropped out of the sky by forces unknown in Myrtle Beach?
It's been fun, y'all, but we got to run. Check us out on let me stick to my point here. A concept of that movie could work. Now, the lines that they would go would be different than the lines that were originally traveled. So what would happen for me is what I think would happen they would go the line of I think satirizing and parodying the religious versus back then when they parodied or satirized, however you want to made a satire of feminism and sexism, right? It would be more satire of theology and ethics. That's what I think would happen. So the types of humor or the digs that they would make would be different, but the concept would be similar. I mean, think about the Family Guy still on to this day. It gets away with talking about everything. right? So certainly it could work. It still ultimately matters how good is the script written and how grounded is the script to the reality that they want to tell and the actors that want to tell the stories. That's all it is. Is it going to be a good script or not? When we have remakes and sequels 35, 40 years later, I think that a lot of that is missing. So what do we got on this screen here? You're muted, bro.
Wanted to get your thoughts quickly on what we were describing live in the moment, but now we have some imagery here as it pertains to how Raw ended with Jey Uso, of course, winning the Fatal 4-Way in the King of the Ring tournament. He will go head-to-head against Cody Rhodes. But, of course, you had Seth Rollins come out, and then, of course, Cody. And in this image here, what do you make about where we're headed with all of that?
I don't know where we're headed, and I think it's intentionally driving these angles into a black curtain, into a smoke grenade for all of the viewers, for them to decide whatever they want to come out of it, such that they can kind of dissuade or get rid of people trying to tell them what they want to see.
All right, I'm going to give you two of Double J's. We'll call it Double J's double outcomes here.
All right,
or twice the possibilities.
Okay.
Option 1. Cody beats Cena at SummerSlam. Seth cashes it in. Okay. Option 2.
Yeah.
CM Punk intervenes, preventing the cash-in from Rollins. So the cash-in attempt occurs, but unsuccessfully.
Okay.
Therefore, leading up to Punk versus Rollins Night 1 Mania 2026.
That's a long build. That's 9 months. 10 months, actually, because it's April. But it can happen. These months pass very quickly. Yeah, he causes...
Hold on. Hang on a second. You're going to criticize me for... When
no, I'm not criticizing.
I love the
I'm
long
calling out how long of a build it is. I'm not criticizing. I'm here for it. I'm saying that's a long build. I'm here for it. I don't mind it. I don't mind
trying to entertain or embrace.
Hey, listen, I wasn't criticizing you for it. I'm calling out for it. Listen,
the creative department.
Listen. If you say, "Hey, I want to go to Casino," and listen, if you say, "Hey, I want to go see Casino extended cut in the theater," I'm telling you, like, listen, that's 4.5 hours. That's all I'm saying. I'm here for it. I like to see it. I'm here for it. That's 4.5 hours. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
These are the rules that you told us that we're playing by here.
I didn't disagree.
Long form content.
I said that's a long build.
But doesn't that fit the current framework of the brass in place?
It does. I mean, well, you know what? Think about it like this. What was it? 10 years ago, they sold The Rock and Cena for 2 WrestleManias. That was a 24-month build.
Yeah, but okay. Do you feel like those names are at least worthy? Is that what you're suggesting?
That CM Punk and Seth Rollins are worthy of a long build like that?
Of 9 months, yes.
Yeah, no, because I think they have enough talent. First of all, they have great matches and have great promos that they can keep us interested for 9 months of a feud. There's plenty of win some, lose some that can culminate in a win, right? And for what it's worth, CM Punk would be ripe for winning the revenge match against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, considering how WrestleMania Night 1 turned out, right? So yeah, they can do it. I like the idea of it. So you said option 1, Seth cashes in. You said CM Punk. No, hold on. You said CM Punk beats Cena. Seth cashes in, wins the title, right?
So Cody goes over on Cena at SummerSlam. Okay, so Cody technically would have the title.
Yep.
Seth cashes it in.
Yep.
Successfully. That was option 1.
Okay.
Option 2 is upon attempting to cash it in,
CM Punk intervenes, costed. That I like that. I like that one. Creative control, Jay.
Okay. All right. We'll shoot on that. And again, we'll see. Will it withstand the test of time? As far as next week, it does appear that only the women's IC title between, of course, with Bayley and the man. Oh, I don't have it up here. Quick thoughts? Anything there?
The Bayley and the man. Right, man. They gave Bayley such the business. She was just so despondent, looked like a lost puppy. She out there doing workout videos in the garage, trying to show people that she still got it. I just feel so bad for her. Now she back in the IC title matchup. Something about IC titles for Hall of Famers that I just don't understand. It just seems so undervaluing to them. And so it's just hard for me to look at it. Like, it's just, but it'd be great for Bayley to win that. I think that Becky Lynch is going to win. I think our heel run continues with Becky Lynch winning.
All right. And well, with that being said, we're going to have our final commercial break. And then, of course, I have only one.
Name that superstar. I'm ready for it.
Here we go.
All right.
Hey, Cunningham, you watching the Shop Report. I'm Homie Diallo, and you watching the Shop Report.
My name's Chris Murray, and you're watching the Shop Report.
You're Jay Knight, you're watching the Shop Report.
Max McKee, you're dropping in on the Shop Report.
Barbershop Jay, Quentin Hines, Super Bowl champion. I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm on.
Hi, I'm Mars Edwards from Mercury Stadium, and you're watching the Shock Report.
Hey, I'm Billy Butler, and thank you for watching the Shop Report. Hey guys, I'm Les Norman, former Kansas City Royal, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Commander Brown, Detroit Rivers Mountain Training, and I'm watching the Shop Report.
Hey, this is Doug Flynn of the New York Mets. Well, a few other teams, of course, too. And you're watching the Shop Report.
I'm Matt Ramos, and you're watching the Shop Report.
How you doing? I'm Rajay Davis, and you're watching the Shop Report.
How you doing? This is Nelson Figueroa, former Major League pitcher with a lot of teams. You're about to listen to the Shop Report. Hey, this is Howard Johnson. You're watching the Shop Report.
Hi, I'm Heath Bell from the New York Mets, and you're listening to the Shop Report podcast. Yeah!
Hey, I'm Josh Tolley, former catcher of the New York Mets, and you're watching the Shop Report.
This is Edgardo Alfonso for the Mets, and you're listening to Shop Report.
Hey, this is Doc Gooden, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Hello, this is Mike Hampton, and you're watching Shop Report.
This is Herman Harvey, former NFL offensive lineman with the Cleveland Browns and Baltimore Ravens, and you're listening to the Shop Report.
All right. And just like that, we are back. Okay. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to also participate in this, folks. For you at home, we're going to start with, I do have two.
You went in. Okay. All right. Bet.
This first individual, D. Gully, walked out with security, but had a huge pyro entrance. He was a part of WCW. D. Gully name.
It's fun, y'all, but we got to run. Check us out at on Gilbert, man.
All right. That's correct. The first individual here tonight was none other than Gilbert, who was simply a parody of WCW Powerhouse at the time, none other than now WWE Goldberg. Correct. All right.
It's funny to hear him talk about his interactions when he finally crossed Goldberg. He was scared to death.
For obvious reasons, right?
Yeah, for sure.
He heard about his no, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
All right. Now I wouldn't make it that easy for you. D. Gully, this next superstar here was a part of WWE's superheroes.
I'm gonna let you say it. Let you say it. You better go find a third one.
This individual had a catchphrase, otherwise known as "What's up with that?" He believed he had real superpowers.
He did.
And he also once tried the coat to chokeslam none other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
But y'all, I remember, hold on. If I'm not mistaken, I thought he went by Sugar Shane Helms once upon a time, but that's none other than Hurricane Helms, aka the Hurricane.
That is correct. All right, we got a few comments here. You acknowledge the people who are watching. What's that saying, D. Gully?
You go ahead. You go ahead, creator.
No. Because I don't want to get it wrong. Like remember you wanted to mention the
and why you wear your shoes on the wrong feet. You know what? My shoe is ambidextrous. All right. You wear your socks on the wrong feet. Let's talk about that. He just learned how to write his name on a dotted line. How about that? Barbershop. Oh, I'm sorry. I digress.
All right. I wouldn't make it that easy. D. Gully, I do have a third for you.
Yeah, you hurry up. All right, got you. Now I might be 2-1 on this, but give me some context clues. Let me see if I can get it.
All right, so I'm going to give you a better picture here. Obviously, a little clue there is clearly still involved with the organization. However, this individual this is someone that WWE tried to make him strut. He originally managed Bobby the Brain Heenan. He had one of the most infamous gimmicks that tanked a talented wrestler's momentum.
He managed Bobby the Brain Heenan?
That's right.
And he's in that good a shape. Jeez. All right, man. Fitness goals.
Gully, name that superstar.
He managed Bobby the Brain Heenan. He was not managed by Bobby the Brain Heenan. You say he was Bobby the Brain's manager, is what you're saying.
That's right.
Not the other way around.
No. He was originally managed by Bobby the Brain.
Thank you very much. All right. I'm about to say, like, yo. One Bobby the Brain.
He did style his hair with a red comb, rather.
Hey, Brutus Beefcake. That ain't the Red Rooster. Had a gimmick that killed his career. Hey, man, who is this?
Well, the gimmick itself didn't take anybody else's career. It tanked his own.
Right.
This is none other than Terry Taylor, who was a highly respected in-ring talent.
I mean, the Red Rooster?
That's right.
I said the Red
Vince
Rooster.
McMahon gave him the Red Rooster. Well, you said it isn't the Red Rooster. And so I didn't say anything because it is.
That is the Red Rooster. Yeah. Wow.
Now, what's really interesting is that it was widely rumored that none other than Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, and Terry Taylor here were both considered for the perfect gimmick.
Right.
And Vince allegedly gave it to Hennig while Taylor was stuck with the Red Rooster. So again, unfortunately, speaking of red, that's how you can end up in a red robe like Matt Riddle.
Yep, there we go. I love that. The way you brought this whole thing to a close and the way you reminded me of that I didn't want to be reminded of no more. Double J, thank you very much. Thank you very much for never ceasing to.
We're free, but there's a paywall for that.
yeah, believe me. And I ain't paying for it. You understand me? I'm not paying for it. Man, you got any final thoughts, bro?
I like the concept of twice the possibilities there. I like where Dom is going. What I do not like is, I think, 3 matches. So talk about less bumps, more filler, and even the bumps were bad.
I mean, only 3 matches on Raw tonight?
I'm almost positive that's what it was.
Yo, less bumps, more filler. No, it needs to be bumps, period. Only 3 matches on Raw, 2 hours, 3 matches. That's a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
all right.
We had, the hang on a second. Yep. New Day talked. Suka wrestled. So that's 1. Liv Morgan wrestled. That's 2. And then and then I guess 3 would have been JD and AJ. So okay, so what? Maybe there was 4 then.
Okay, all right.
4 in 2 hours.
4 in 2 hours. Well, less bumps, more filler.
Yeah,
keeps people safe.
We need that on a t-shirt.
Less bumps, more filler. That sounds like that sounds dangerously close to a lawsuit, bro. That sounds like you're gonna end up in HR.
Unpaid partnership?
Nah, like if you wore
that $1, I make a dime.
Nah, if you wore that to dress casual day on work, you end up in HR. That just seems like an HR complaint. Unless you work in professional wrestling, you know what I mean? You wear that. Come on, man. You at the office. You got a female supervisor. Hey, let's bump some more. Like, come on, man. Like, do you understand where? Yeah.
Kind of gives you those vibes of "Ask Me About."
Right.
Are you fill in the blank?
Yeah. Exactly. Hey, man. Final thoughts. You just brought up the 4 matches, 2 hours, less bumps, more filler. You need to be able to make a promo. It keeps recurring for itself. We looked at the interaction and the who's come to the rescue and that dynamic of Cody and Jay and Seth. You know, a lot of action, right? Nobody needs to talk. Get what I mean? That was helpful for one of those competitors. It's underscoring the point that I've been making, that I feel, you know, what will bring Jay to the next level. As far as switching gears on to another point, another final thought. Dom is on his way. And I continue to say that Dom is on his way. He ain't where people think he should be yet. he's not to me where other people think he should be just yet, but he is on his way. I'm excited to see what he looks like versus AJ Styles for the reasons I've already illustrated, or the reason I've already illustrated. His ability to sell, taking punishment, sell bumps, and then to sell his offense. That's the next step because he has all of the other intangibles. He seems to be comfortable in the ring. He seems to be comfortable with the crowd. He has something that he's comfortable within himself. It's just when we talk about professional wrestling, in the end, we want to see guys professionally wrestle. You have to be able to do that or look convincing doing it, even if you're limited, aka Goldberg. That being said, Goldberg's probably going to take this title. Don't know reason why. We got to deal with it. It is what it is. And no safer person to give him that belt than the safest big man, it seems like, around. A guy who I had to come. It took me a long time to arrive.
Yes, it did.
But I guess I'm finally here. And sometimes I even wonder why I'm here. It's still even surreal to me.
I do want to get your thoughts quickly. It was on the AEW side.
Okay.
Our champion at one point in time went a little rogue and apparently hit kind of threw a cameraman, we'll call it.
Okay.
Which is now leading to a real lawsuit.
Yeah.
Fair or foul?
He hit a cameraman?
He kind of threw him.
Why did he throw the cameraman?
That I cannot speculate on, other than he was maybe frustrated and in his way.
But he threw a cameraman, got a lawsuit. Sounds like the problem with being able to control the environment. That's a con problem. That's why are there lawsuits, and why are those lawsuits becoming public? That's something that we would like to be able to handle behind the scenes, even if it went the direction that it did. What I mean by that, even if it went to the point of that cameraman being thrown around or what have you, got to be able to handle that in house. Got to have to be able to have the wherewithal, have the strength to be able to handle that privately.
So again, this is John Moxley. We're reacting to ultimately, just so you can kind of see here, him going a bit rogue. His opponent is inside.
Yeah.
As you see.
Right. His opponent is inside. And looks like this would be like a triple threat match, it seems like.
It could be interpreted that way, but unfortunately it was not. And the production assistant was took it personally in my best NJ.
Oh yeah. And I took that personally. Yeah, so it's unfortunate though. I mean, it's John Moxley as well. You know, this is a veteran. This is a guy who's been at the big dance for quite some time. He's been at the top of the big dance for quite some time. So it's surprising to see him involved in such confusion and an unfortunate situation like that. But you got to be able to handle. You'd like to be able to handle that in house. Hopefully. Mr. Khan develops a way to be able to handle that in-house in the future. I'm AEW, their biggest problem to me is the no selling. Not only the syringes, shout out Paul, not the syringes, but the no selling, like the no selling, because it is a waste of what that could do for the storytelling of a match. To have guys constantly, fight like they look like Power Rangers out there. Like when Jason and Tommy was going back and forth, and they realized that they were equals. It's like, well, drive a match forward by letting one guy get off on that, go for the pin, kick out of the pin, let the other guy be able to do the same thing, go for a pin, and then you're moving the match forward. Now you done did all this great stuff. We done seen the acrobatics in the first 33 seconds. How you gonna sell me on the match now? Get what I'm saying? Like you waste. I get sometimes where you do have like a no sale, but I feel like they waste. I feel like they in effect they waste a lot of that energy doing the sparring at the very beginning, where some of them no sales can happen on a rally, and you can move a match forward, and it can be a greater match. That's how I feel. But I could be alone in that. I just think I think they're wasting their arrangement. That's all. Even if you have the no selling. But
yeah, go ahead with your final thoughts, and then we'll head out here.
Well, other than that, man, I think we about covered it all. I'm glad to be back in the shadow here. Our lives outside of the turnbuckle, a little bit more settled, so that way we can see us more regularly. We're on the TikTok, on the Instagram, on the YouTube.
Yeah, and be on the lookout for us for TikTok live here in the future too. So if you I do want to shout out to the folks that Peter, Adam, and of course none other Barbershop Jay on the Facebook side, and Miss Say at one point in time too. But again, we may be migrating into some newer territories and platforms as well to better serve you. Actually, that brings up a very good point that I did not ask you.
That brings up a very good point.
In your in-ring audience, right?
In-ring audience, okay.
Those that are at the venue versus what we'll call everyone else.
Okay.
The digital.
Yeah.
When you see a pop for Goldberg.
Yeah.
And then you get your take on it. Why are they so at odds? Is it just simply, I'm here already, so I would cheer for Vince?
Right. Yeah, you're there, and the natural energy of a show would lead you. The natural energy of the show will compel you, at least, to be able will compel you to see that.
I think it's worth exploring.
Right, because you're there. You know what I'm saying? The question is, again, but like I said, this is happening. So me being there cheering for it, I would want it to happen, but how many people in the world want to go to an event versus how many people in the world want to go to an event just for that? And if I'm there and I'm at the event and it's Goldberg, is that the large contingency of our base that want to see Goldberg back in action facing on Gunther? I don't know if that's true. I'm not here for it, because no matter how much I like or don't like Goldberg, his presence in the professional wrestling space can't be dismissed. And it's cool for him to be retired. But for him to be that old man that still got something, got a little bit left in the tank. For him to come out on a cameo, let's say, for example, it would make sense for me if Goldberg came out maybe when they did the spot at last year's WrestleMania, leading up to Cody Rhodes finishing his chapter of the story, the way I call it. If Goldberg had been one of the names that would have just came out and just speared The Rock to set the, even though you had the Undertaker do it, that would have been great to see. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not certain. I'm not certain the large contingency of the audience wants this, but it's going to happen anyway. So let it happen. Let's see where it goes, and let's see if it can deliver. But I don't know that he wins it. But that's way too much, man. We got to get out of here, man. We got to get back to our things. We got to get back to our Thursday show, Shop Report.
That's right. Yep. We are one win away from potentially an NBA champion. Yes. And much, much more. We will be back, as Scully pointed out, on Thursday evening. So check to be on the lookout for that. And, of course, feel free to give your thoughts. And as always, if you really want to know what's going on.
Next time you want to know what's really going on, come to the shop. Why? Because walk-ins are always welcome. Ain't that right, Double J?
That's right. Holla.
Right, see ya.